Hey guys, welcome back to Army is Able. If you're new here, I'm Army, of course, and today we have a couple of viral clips from a MAGA farmer who is asking for help from the public to save his farm. As you guys may already know, if you're in the United States, that Trump's administration has put a halt or a freeze on a lot of government funding. So, of course, that's trickling down to the farms as well. This particular farmer will give a little bit of insight on why he voted for Trump and how he feels now. Stay to the end and find out. Let's get right into it.
So a little disclaimer, I am not an expert in NRCS. I am not an expert on FSA. I just have experience with FSA purchasing our farm, and then I have experience with NRCS on this cost sharing thing. I am nowhere near an expert, so for the best advice, I would definitely consider calling them and getting information from them. But let's start off with the FSA. So I bought the farm with the FSA, and we would not be able to purchase our farm without FSA. So we were able to pay for half of our farm at a 3% interest rate, and the other half is bank finance at 7%. So with that 3% interest rate compared to the 7%, I saved $20,000 on that half of the farm. So there's programs out there to help you purchase farms. And then with the NRCS, that stands for Natural Resources Conservation Services, I do believe. So they pay for the fencing, or pay for a portion of the fencing. They cost share on the fencing, they cost share on the well, they cost share on the waters, they cost share on the pipe. And then also we've got a couple fields we are going from a cool season grasses to a warm season grasses. And I guess in their mind, the warm season grasses are better. I have no experience with the warm season grasses. I'm still trying to figure that out. But they are cost sharing on that because they figure that is, I guess, better for the ecosystem as well. So they are, they're cost sharing all that to, I guess it would better the environment. So that's why NRCS is involved with cost sharing on stuff like that. But if you have any other, I don't really know exactly what your questions. If you want to go into detail on your question, you have any more questions, let me know, and I hope I can help you. If not, just give NRCS a call. See if they have programs out there for you. They're super good people. They'll come out to your farm. They'll do a ride around on your farm. They'll see what you got going on. They'll see what programs they have available to you. They'll give you advice on different stuff that you could do with your operation. You are a lot of people say that I don't want the government in my business telling me what I need to do. They don't tell you what you need to do. They'll give you advice. You can tell them what you want to do, and they'll see if they have any cost sharing that they can help you with that. So
of course, I had to do a little bit of Googling. So NRCS is the National Resources Conservation Service. This agency provides technical assistance to farmers and other private landowners. Financial assistance is authorized by the Farm Bill. It's a law that renews every 5 years. In 2014, Farm Bill consolidated 23 programs into 15. The NRCS offers these services to private landowners, conservation districts, tribes, and other types of organizations. The NRCS also collects and shares information on the nation's soil, water, air, and plants.
Hey, Scott, I can't really type back. I've got oil all over my hand. I'm trying to change oil in this truck, but I figured I'd make a video on it. So they're not really backing out of the contract. What they're doing is they're just saying that from here on out, we can't pay out on the cost sharing of what we agreed to. So they're not really backing out of it, but they're not paying out on it either. And they said it could only last a week or two, could last a day, could last months, so they could not pay out at all. There's really no answers. I've ran it all the way up. I've checked in with everybody that I can to see if I can get some answers, if there's a timeline when they think they're going to be able to pay out on it. I can't get any answers, but the reason they're not paying out on it is the administration changes in politics. Trump's in office, and they've got that DOGE program, the Department of Government Efficiency. So they're trying to cut out all the wasteful spending in the government, which I'm all for. But the issue is it's a signed contract. It's a legally binding contract. They're not backing out on it. They're not paying out on it. So it puts me in a bind because I've made business decisions based on that contract. So I don't know how it all works out, and I don't want to get a lawyer involved, because I get a lawyer involved. Let's say that I'm paying a lawyer $350 an hour to look into it, and then a week from now they decide, oh, we're going to pay out on the contract that we signed on. Well, then the lawyer's still going to say, give me my money, and then the problem's resolved. But I'm going to be out however many thousands of dollars for the lawyer to look into it. So I'm kind of in a waiting period right now, trying to figure it out. But hopefully something changes, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I need your help to save my farm and many other farms. I wanted to give you guys an update on what we figured out with our contract through NRCS. So to give you some backstory, if you haven't watched the previous video, please go out, watch that previous video I've got on there. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. But the issue I have is I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost, and I use my farm operating expenses in order to do those projects, because per contract, I knew that I was going to get cost sharing refunds on the stuff once completed, but now that it's completed, they're saying that they're unable to provide the funds because of the freeze on the Inflation Reduction Act funds. So I reached out to a couple different senators and Congress people. So I reached out to Ann Wagner's office. I have not heard back from them. I reached out to Josh Hawley's office. I have heard back from him, not from him personally, but from his office. And they are looking into it because they said that this should not be happening. The intention was not to take away the funding from the farmers, but doing the Inflation Reduction Act, cutting those costs, then it's also taken away from the programs that those programs helped out. So it's in the works, but what I need from you guys is if you could please share this, tag your representatives, tag your senators. I need to get some ground on this because I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds. So please tag the representatives. Please tag the senators. I need to get some ground on this. We need to help me and other farmers out. We've got to get this funding paid out. I don't care if they don't do it in the future. The problem is there was contracts in place. Multiple farms made business decisions, and multiple farms are going to sink if we don't get traction on this and get those funds unfrozen.
Okay, guys, say what you want. He actually has a great point here. It's a legally binding contract, okay? If the NRCS does not come off them funds and he does lose his farm, even though those funds are coming from federal government programs, eventually he'll probably double or even triple the money of what the farm is worth anyway. And before I play the last clip, I got to get into these comments, all right? And they are brutal. It says, if he loses his farm, they'll be happy to hire him and his family at $7 an hour. Another commenter says, he voted for Trump. I don't care if he loses his farm. We lost our country because of people like him. Oh, got the loans from the Biden-Harris administration, but voted for Trump. Yikes. I'm not sure if he regrets his vote. The effort he puts into not blaming Trump is almost heroic. Fortunately, this freed up some $400 million of government funds to buy armored Teslas. Efficient government spending right there. Another says, funny how he won't say Trump and instead blames the government for losing his farm. Before it was Biden this and Biden that, and he acts like Trump is not a part of the government. I personally don't think you should fight fire with fire. And these comments are definitely firing his ass up. Okay, I'ma just put it there. But he has to understand the sentiment of the Democrats or anyone who voted blue. Democrat voters really honestly believe that anyone who voted for Trump is racist and prejudiced. And they also believe that those same people allowed their racism and prejudice against non-white immigrants, trans people to outweigh any type of common good for the commonwealth of the people. People are really angry about what the Trump administration is doing. I completely understand because it's affecting a lot of people. It's affecting a lot of government fundings. It's affecting a lot of sectors of our population and civilization that we didn't even know the far reaches of government funding. From the farms to the schools to transportation, literally everything. And I don't think people were prepared for it. I understand y'all probably gonna rip me to shreds in the comments like, oh, this is what they get. You reap what you sow. Pun intended. And when they go low, I'ma go to hell type of thing. If you feel that way, try to look at the long-term effects, because then if you don't, you're just as guilty as what you accused Trump supporters of not doing, when just looking at the bigger picture. If small farmers are not supported. And if small farmers lose their farms, think about what that does to grocery prices. Think about what that does to small communities, butcher places, the overall quality of life for the animals, the health of the animals that you consume. Think about the life-saving protocols of food safety. And if farmers are being squeezed to death financially, what safety protocols will they be willing to cut? From farm to plate, would you really want to risk it health-wise? And the last point I have to make before I play the last clip is this. Think about the wealth transfer in this country. We saw a taste of it in 2020. Once COVID hit, all small mom and pop shops, companies, you name it, they were forced to close their doors. If everyday citizens like you and I, someone who spent their life savings, their hard-earned money, loans, everything, they put everything into their business, and then within one snap, one pandemic, they were forced to close their doors because they no longer could afford to operate. That made citizens literally run back to the corporations and patronize the large corporations, which is going to perpetuate the cycle. If these smaller farms start losing their farms, then guess what? We're going to have no choice but to patronize factory farms. Let's get into this last clip because people was firing his behind up in the comments, and let's just see what his ass had to say.
Also, everybody says in the comments, Project 2025, didn't you read that? That's his platform. From my understanding, that wasn't his platform. That's not what he's running on. And I never thought I'd be on the political side of TikTok because it's definitely not something I'm interested in. I'm interested in the farm side of TikTok. And it really sucks that I can't get engaged with the farm side of TikTok. But politics, everybody gets worked up about it. But Project 2025, I did not read Project 2025 because from my understanding, that's not what he was running on. That's what I was told, and that's the information that I had. I don't have TV out here. I don't have news channels. I don't watch the news because every time you turn on the news, this news channel's saying, oh, this news channel's lying about this. The other news channel says, oh, this news channel's lying about this. I don't have time to filter through the bullshit. I'm not going to figure out who's lying, who's not. You get on the internet and then everybody says, well, the left's lying, the right's lying. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Everybody's arguing with each other, and it's never the people against the politicians. It's the politicians against the politicians, and it's the people against the people. That's what I don't understand. That we need to unite and be together, but then you're saying, oh, well, if you didn't vote for my party, we're not uniting with you. Well, that's the fucking problem. That's the problem. That we have a whole lot of things that we agree on that we could actually solve problems with if we'd all just settle down and actually have conversations and talk about stuff rather than just hollering, oh, fuck around and find out. Okay, fine. I'm not even going to deal with you then because you're just immature at that point. If you actually want to have a solid conversation and talk about the issues and figure out resolutions to the issues and not just keep bringing up the issues, then I'm all for it. I'm not wasting my time with the immature just yelling, and it's just absolutely insane. But like I said, I appreciate the engagement.
Honey, now you know you the last person to be talking about immaturity. When you just came out your mouth and said you don't have time to be well informed before you cast your vote. Honey, being informed is literally your only job as a United States citizen and more importantly as a voter. Why vote if you're not informed? That's the issue. He does have a solid point about misinformation, news channels, saying the other is lying. There is merit to that statement. However, if you were to closely look at Project 2025 or the authors of Project 2025, a lot of these people are great constituents of Donald Trump or even served in his last term and was rumored to serve in his next term if he was to win presidency. Project 2025 has been right in front of us this entire time. Also, Trump has made some very unsavory and discriminatory comments throughout his entire campaign. We've seen it, and I think that's why a lot of people are upset. Like, not everyone is hard left and hard right. I think a lot of people actually do meet in the middle. But I have to say, I honestly think most people are Democrats. They just don't know it. Unless you have an S Corp and you have 50 to 100 employees that you pay out on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, more than likely, you're a Democrat. Surprise! So I actually looked into him a bit more. He did say that he voted Democrat in previous elections, but he decided to vote for Trump in this election. And I think that's important to note. A lot of people have been feeling the sting of the economy. They just wanted to put in the first person that they believe would put a little bit of money in their pocket. So I do think some people were actually duped and are not prejudiced and racist. However, there are plenty of them that did vote for Trump because of that. I think most people wanted to protect their bottom dollar and wanted to protect their money in their pockets more so than they cared about anything that Trump said that might have been racially distasteful. So before I go, guys, I'm just gonna look at a few more comments. Oh, and they're still not good. FSA loan programs was started by FDR and the NRCS under Biden. Democrats support family farms. Somebody said all that government money. Wow. Y'all are ruthless in the comments. Please don't get on my ass too bad like y'all got on his, but I definitely want to hear from you. So please go ahead and give your thoughts. Leave them in the comment section below. Share this video, like. If you enjoyed this video and this commentary, I would implore you guys to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It would help this channel grow. Until next time, bye y'all.